Hey everyone, I'm Bradford of the Pen Pickers Guide of Personal Finance. In this video, we're going to be addressing how do you actually know how much you owe in taxes. Now, if you're looking at line 16 on your IRS Form 1040, which is your individual income tax return, that's where they're asking you, hey, you got to fill out line 16 and you need to tell the IRS how much you owe in taxes. Now, fortunately, it's not a complex cosmic issue. Granted, you do have to get the first page of the IRS Form 1040 done first before you can figure this out. But don't worry, we have several videos that walk you through, like the ones up here. But at this point, let's assume you've got all the way up to line 15, and now you're trying to figure out how much you actually owe so that way you can fill in line 16. That's what we're going to address here. So fortunately, the IRS does actually make it relatively straightforward. You don't have to go and set up a whole Excel spreadsheet to be able to figure out how much you actually owe using our marginal tax rate system. So jumping over, we're looking at the IRS Form 1040 instructions. So these are for tax year 2024, filing this year in 2025. So when you look at the table of contents on the right, we're going to go down to where it says 2024 Tax Table. So we're going to click on that. And the IRS does fortunately make this a relatively straightforward and simple task. Now, a caveat before we start figuring out how to actually use this table is this table is only going to be helpful to you if you, regardless of whatever your filing condition is, make less than $100,000. Don't worry, we're still going to cover how do you know how much you actually owe if you make more than $100,000, but we're going to be focusing on the tax table first. So let's come in here. Let's say that you're using the tax filing status of single and you made $51,000. That's the amount that you had. That's your adjusted gross income. You've already figured it out, and that's what you put in line 15. So how do we know how much we actually owe in taxes? So we're going to come over here, and we're actually just going to scroll through this table until we get to where it says $51,000, because they're going to go by $1,000 increments. So here we go, $51,000. And we're going to go in this line right here where it says $51,000 up to $51,050. And we're going to go over to our filing status, which in this instance is single. So we go to single and we say, okay, great. We're going to owe $6,279. And now you can do that with any sort of filing status, whether you are married filing jointly, married filing separately, or head of household. If you make less than $100,000, you just go do what you did in middle school or elementary school, and you look at the y-axis. You're going to come down here, figure out exactly how much money corresponds to how much money you made, and then you're just going to follow that x-axis over, and you're going to identify what is the filing status that I'm using, and that is going to be the exact amount of money that you can copy and paste into your line 16 in your IRS Form 1040. Okay, you're saying, wait, Bradford, I make more than $100,000. How do I figure it out? I'm glad you asked, because if we scroll all the way down here to the very bottom of the tax tables, continuing down, we're going to get to the tax computation worksheet. You're like, there's a lot of boxes in there. It's difficult. No, it's actually quite simple. So we're going to use the same situation, filing a single, which that's going to allow us to use section A because they break it up. We got single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, and head of household. But for this instance, it's going to be the same process. The numbers will just be slightly different. And say we're filing single, and in this instance, we make $150,000. So we're going to come down here and we have $150,000. This is after we finish the first page of the 1040. So $150,000 is what goes in line 15. So we're going to come down here. It's like, cool. All right, at least $100,000, but not over $100,525. It's like, well, no, made $150,000. So that's more than that. So we're going to come down to this next box here. And that's going to be $100,525, but not over $191,950. Hey, that's us. So we're going to enter $150,000 in this section right here. At this point, we can pull up our handy dandy calculator and we can say, all right, so we're going to take $150,000 times the amount right here. So our tax bracket is 24. It's the 24% tax bracket. So we'll multiply that by 0.24. Cool. And that's the amount. We're going to take $36,000 and we're going to drop it into this box right here. And then it says subtract the following amount. So our amount is, we're going to say minus $6,957.50. $29,042.50. We're going to take this amount. Congratulations. We're going to fill it in right here. And then we can also take this amount and drop it right into line 16. And that is the amount of taxes that we actually owe on our money for the previous year. And the same process is going to apply whether you're doing married filing jointly. If you make more than any of these, so let's say you're really killing it and you make $1 million a year, Now, if you make $1 million a year and you're following me for taxes, I'd recommend you just go hire a CPA because it's probably going to make your life a lot easier. But let's say, all right, we make $1 million. So we're over this $600,000 threshold. So we say $1 million times the top tax bracket of 37% gives us $370,000. And then we're going to subtract the amount that's right there. So 41,812.25. Oh, looks like I messed up on that one. Let's fix that real quick. 41,812.25. So if you made $1 million and that's the amount that you have in line 15 on your 1040, you would end up owing $328,187.75. So now you know what value to put in line 16 of your IRS Form 1040. But if you'd like to know a little bit more how to fill out the rest of the Form 1040 as well as other schedules, you're gonna want to check out this playlist right here. Or if you want somebody else to file your taxes for you completely free, check out this playlist as well. I want to thank you for watching with me today, and from your first penny to your first million, we're here to help.